Electrostatic sensing and actuation. Electrostatic mainly deals with charges at rest. So, in order to store charges, we are using capacitor. So, capacitor means it consists of two conductors which can hold opposite charges, and in between those two conductors, there will be a dielectric medium. So, we can use these capacitors as sensors as well as an actuator. So, first one is capacitive sensing or electrostatic sensing. So when we apply an input or a stimulus to a capacitor, the position of the two conducting plates will change. When the position changes, the capacitance value also changes based on the relation C is equal to epsilon 0 A by D. Then electrostatic actuation or capacitive actuation. In this, a voltage applied between the two conductors can cause electrostatic force. As a result, there will be an actuation. A very common example for this electrostatic actuation is micromotor. We have already discussed about this micromotor in module 1. That is about a linear motor and a rotary motor. So the same thing is explained here. A micromotor means it consists of rotor as well as stator. Stator means they are fixed electrode, whereas rotor means a rotating type electrode. And these rotors are connected to the substrate by means of a hub. So in this figure, the stators are grouped in such a way that each group contains 4 electrodes, and those 4 electrodes are biased simultaneously. So in the figure, based on the fill pattern, we can say this micromotor consists of 3 such groups. So in each group, there will be 4 electrodes. So at first, the rotor will be at resting position. Then we will bias a group of stator electrode. That means there are 3 such group. In that, any group we can select. So a group of stator electrode is biased. In that figure, the biased electrodes are shown by an arrow mark. Then, when we biased a group of stator electron, of course there will be an electric field occurs. That means an electric field arises between the given stator electrode and rotor. As a result, there will be an attractive force. And this attractive force will align the rotor to the stator electrode. Aligning means there will be a small angular movement of the rotor, and that angular movement is shown in figure B. Then the bias is shifted to next group of stator electrode, and it is shown in figure C. The arrow mark is shifted to another group, and then again we will get a small angular displacement. So by activating the group of stator electrode in in a succession, we can achieve a continuous movement. Then comes some of the advantages of electrostatic sensing and actuation. First one is it is very easy to implement such capacitors, and we don't need any specific materials. So it is very simple to implement this type of sensing. Then comes low power. Low power means here we are mainly focusing on differential voltage. Then they are very energy efficient, especially at low frequency application. Third one is fast response. As I told, we are using capacitor. So in capacitor, the transition speed is mainly depend upon the charging as well as discharging time. So they provide very high dynamic response speed. Then comes disadvantages. So for static actuators, we need high voltage. So As a result of that, the complexity of the device increases, and there will be some compatibility issues. Again, charges get accumulated if you are connecting the electrodes to an insulator. Also, the accumulated charges, that means the trapped charges, can shift the operation characteristics. Based on the capacitive electrode geometry, we can classify into two categories. First one is parallel plate capacitor. Second one is interdigitated finger capacitor or COM drive capacitor. You will be familiar with the parallel plate capacitor as well as interdigitated finger capacitor. We have studied this COM drive capacitor in module 1 in micro grippers, etc. So first, parallel plate capacitor. In this, we will discuss about what is a parallel plate capacitor, some of the basic equation related to it. So parallel plate capacitor means it is a basic configuration of a capacitor. That means it consists of two conducting plate. They are parallel to each other. In the electric field lines are perpendicular to the plate surfaces, and there will be some fringe field on the boundaries. In the figure, the overlapping area is represented by A, and the distance between two plates is represented as D. Um, as it is a capacitor, of course, there will be a dielectric medium between those two parallel plates, and the dielectric medium is represented, means the dielectric constant is represented as epsilon. Then we all know the capacitance is mainly depend upon the charge as well as voltage, that is C is equal to Q by V, where Q is the charge, V is the potential. So for a capacitor, the energy stored is represented as U is equal to half CV square. So we know C is equal to Q by V. Substitute Q by V in this equation, then we will get U is equal to half Q square by C. So according to Gauss law, the electric field is equal to Q by epsilon A. Then we have already told that C is equal to Q by V, and V can be written as E into D. So this is the basic equation. Electric field is equal to voltage by distance. So C is equal to Q by E into D, and we can replace this E based on Gauss law, that is Q by Q divided by epsilon A into D. Then we will get the final answer as C is equal to epsilon A by D. That means the capacitance value depends upon the area inversely proportional to distance, and also the capacitance is a function of permittivity epsilon. So if we are using a two parallel plate capacitor, we can assume two types of movement. First one is normal displacement, second one is parallel sliding displacement. So these are the basic ideas about parallel plate capacitor and some of the equation connected with parallel plate capacitor. Next is parallel plate capacitor as a sensor. So we can use this parallel plate capacitor in many sensors such as biological, chemical or physical sensors. Here, by measuring the capacitance value of a parallel plate capacitor, we can calculate the change in permittivity, area or distance, because the capacitance value is related to these three parameters, that is C is equal to epsilon A by D. So we can change the permittivity of a media by changing the temperature as well as humidity of the capacitor media. Thus, we can say that the capacitance change via permittivity can be used to characterize the media, that is used to characterize the liquid, air or even the biological particles in the gap. Next is parallel plate capacitor as an actuator. As I told in the beginning that when we apply a voltage between two parallel plates, there arises an electrostatic force. As a result, we can achieve an actuation. So here we are using two parallel plate, in that one is fixed and the other one is suspended by means of a spring. Then we are applying a differential voltage between those two plates. As a result, there arises an electrostatic force, that is an electrostatic attractive force. And this magnitude of this force can be calculated by taking the gradient of the stored electrical energy with respect to the dimensional variable of interest. So if you are considering movement in the x direction, then our variable of interest is x. If you are considering that the parallel plates are moving in the normal axis, that means in the direction of d, then our variable of interest is d. So we can write the equation as F is equal to dou u by dou x. That means u can be written as half cv square. So the equation is half into dou c by dou x into v square, where x is the dimensional variable of interest, and this dimensional variable of interest will vary depending upon the direction of movement. So we are considering that the plates are moving normal direction. That means the plates are moving in the direction of D. As a result, the gap between the electrode changes. So the magnitude of force for such a moment is F is equal to dou u by dou D. And this u can be written in terms of D as u is equal to half epsilon A V square by D. So differentiate this equation, differentiate the equation of u with respect to d. As a result, we will get the equation as half epsilon a d square into v square. Then we can rewrite this equation as half c v square by d. So if you are applying a constant voltage, then by increasing the distance between these two parallel plates will leads to a decrease in the electrostatic force. That means electrostatic force can be considered as a short range force, and this force is more effective when the gap is in the order of micrometer. Of course, we are applying a voltage, then there will be an upper limit, and this upper limit of the applied voltage is determined by the breakdown voltage of the dielectric medium. Then some of the applications of parallel plate capacitors are: it can be used in inertia sensor, pressure sensor, flow sensor, and in tactile sensor. Then the second classification, that is the classification of capacitor based on their geometry, is interdigitated finger capacitor. So while going through the parallel plate capacitor, we saw that in parallel plate capacitor, the capacitance are calculated across the conducting plates. So here in interdigitated finger capacitor, the capacitance are calculated from the side walls of electrode. So here we are using two sets of electrode, and these two sets are placed parallel to each other on the same substrate, and one set of finger like electrode is fixed while the other set is suspended, and it is free to move in either one or two axes. This interdigitated finger capacitor can also be called as comb drive device because they are shaped like tooth of combs, so that it's also called as comb drive device. So this is the figure of an interdigitated capacitor. We have already seen this IDT in acoustic wave sensors as well as in micro grippers. So here there are two sets of fingers, and these two sets are placed in same plane and they are parallel to each other. So the shaded portion shows the movable electrode, and the other one shows the fixed electrode. It is in between movable electrode, a fixed electrode is placed, and their overlapping distance is denoted as L naught. Then the length of the finger is denoted as LC, and the same time its thickness is assumed as T, and the width is assumed as WC. Then the distance between a fixed comb finger and an nearby movable finger is D. Then we can calculate the capacitance value as C is equal to epsilon R epsilon 0 into A by T. Here A is represented as L0, that is the overlapping length, into the thickness into T divided by D. That means in interdigitated capacitor, the capacitance value mainly depends upon the thickness as well as the distance. So if the thickness is very high, then the capacitance value will be large. At the same time, if the distance is very small, or the distance should be very small in order to achieve a very high capacitance effect. So using this, we can calculate the capacitance between immediate neighboring fingers. But in order to calculate the fringe capacitance, we have to use a finite element method. Then in COM drive devices, depending upon the relative movement, it can be classified into two. That is transverse COM drive and second one longitudinal COM drive. So these are the figures of transverse COM drive. Transverse COM drive means the movable electrode moves in XY direction. Then in longitudinal COM drive, the movable fingers can move in the up and down direction. So the first one, transverse COM drive. As I told, transverse COM drive means the fingers can move in the right or to the left side. So if the fingers are moving to the right side, the capacitance on the right hand side is represented as CSR, and the left hand side capacitance is represented as CSL. So initially the distance is denoted as x naught. Then based on the left side as well as the right side movement, it is denoted as x naught plus x as well as x naught minus x. So at first means at first the capacitance value on the right hand side and the left hand side is denoted as epsilon 0 L0 into T divided by the distance we are taking, that is divided by x naught. Now the finger, that is the movable finger, moves by a distance of x. Then the capacitance value can be written as epsilon 0 L0 T by x naught minus x. That means the movable electrodes are moving to the left hand side. So if the movable electrode are moving to the right hand side, then it is represented as epsilon 0 L0 T divided by x naught plus x. So the total value means the total capacitance value of this transverse COM drive can be written as C total is equal to CSL plus CSR plus CF, where CF is the fringing capacitance. Now we can use this arrangement as a sensor as well as an actuator. If we are using this transverse COM drive as a sensor, then there arises a term called displacement sensitivity, and this it can be calculated by taking the derivative of capacitance with respect to x. So the displacement sensitivity Sx is equal to dou C total by dou x. Again, we can use this transverse COM drive as an actuator. Then the magnitude of force can be written as Fx is equal to dou u by dou x, and we can replace this u using the equation half C total into V square. Then comes the longitudinal COM drive. Longitudinal COM drive means there will be a movable electrode as well as a fixed electrode, and the fixed electrode is shown by the shaded portion. and the movable electrode is shown in the lower side. So here the electrons are moving in up and down fashion. So the capacitance is represented as CSL equal to CSR. This is equal to epsilon 0. Here the because of up and down movement, the distance is represented as L0 minus y. The overlapping distance will vary. So L0 minus y divided by x0 into t. We can use this longitudinal comb drive as a sensor as well as an actuator. If we are using this as a sensor, then there arises the sensitivity term. That means Sy is equal to dou C total divided by dou y.